Australia is a wildly interesting place with many different animals and many different people. I'm sure you've seen movies based in Australia or know of actors and actresses such as Nicole Kidman or the Hemsworth brothers. However, did you know that according to the Australian government, there are only 22 million residents in Australia?
Because of Australia's vast land size, there is only an average of 2 people per kilometer. That's not very much in comparison to other continents.
I am a communications major, so I enjoy talking to and learning how to better talk to people. I also enjoy reading about, watching documentaries about, and learning more about Australia as a whole. I have always enjoyed the country. So today, I will tell you about Australian culture, Australian protocols, and Australian communication tips. Let's start by learning about the culture. According to the Australian Journal of Social Issues, Australia is a multi-faith country, but is predominantly Christian. Much like the US, all religions are legal, but Christianity is the most widely accepted and the most powerful. In an article about Australian values published by Social Alternatives, the values Australia holds closest are their governmental values, such as freedom of association, freedom of assembly, and freedom of speech, as well as other Commonwealth government values. Also, much like the US, Australia values their freedom and would want to be treated equally and fairly. In an article about the languages of Australia, done by the Linguistics Department at Yale University, 120 languages, both dead and current, have existed in Australia. Although English is the primarily spoken language, there are many others spoken by different Australian groups. If you plan to go to an area inhabited by Indigenous people, it may be beneficial to brush up on their language. The Australian Anthropology Society conducted an experiment of greetings on the highway. They found most drivers would lift an index finger or 2 of the first fingers to greet one another on the road, even though they have likely never met. Australians are overall very friendly when greeting someone. Always be polite and introduce yourself when visiting Australia.
Many people assume that all Australians wear bushwear or surfing gear every day. However, according to the fashion theory, this is not the truth. Some may wear these items on occasion, like swimming or exploring the outback, but overall, the country does not have national dress. Australians are free to dress however they feel and will not be punished for the way that they do dress.
They don't all have bushwear on hand either, so don't pack only that if you plan to go. Keep in mind, though, that the area that you'll be in, Australia is very hot. Dress to keep cool, but keep it appropriate for your occasion. Australia is mainly present day and future oriented. They do not focus on their past as many cultures do. Though it is important to them, it does not consume their everyday lives. Much like the United States, they focus on the now and the moving forward. There were once at least 500 clans in Australia, but now Indigenous people make up less than 3% of the population according to the Australian government. This shows that the culture is changing without placing an importance on preserving their past. Now that you know the protocols, it's time to learn to communicate. Tip number 1. Speak English, as this is the language most of them will know. Be professional as speaking to someone you will respect. 2. Be polite and friendly to all that you meet. Offer a firm handshake to them as if you were greeting an acquaintance in the US. Treat them as an equal. 3. Dress appropriate for the occasion, as you would in the US, but wear something you will not get overly hot in. Shorts to a business function is not appropriate. 4. As with any culture, be open to their ways and understand that even though what they do is different, that doesn't mean it's wrong. Now, I've taught you all the things about the culture in Australia. So today, I informed you of three basic things. I showed you the structures of the culture, religion, value, and language. I've showed you the protocol, greetings, appearance, and orientation and time, and I've showed you tips for communication with Australia. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about Australian culture. It is a culture that is similar to the US in many ways, but very different at the same time. They have a very rich background with many different languages and many different clans. Today in Australia, they are moving forward and modernizing themselves. I found it interesting and enjoyed it. I hope I would also enjoy going one day and using my tips for myself. But I'll know, leave my bushwear at home.